Hello, welcome, welcome. We are back with this week's episode of Leader of Your Life. So, guys, welcome. If you've been following me for the last couple of weeks with this series, I am really trying to help and support people to be the leader of their life, to really embody that and embrace that. So, today's topic, what we're going to talk about, is one of those topics about going within. Because what happens to people sometimes is that they look outside themselves for answers. And if you're constantly looking outside of yourself for answers, you're questioning things, you're looking for validation outside of yourself, you really don't feel like the leader of your life. You don't feel like you can trust yourself. You don't feel like you have the wisdom inside. So you're looking for somebody else to say, yes, you're right, or you should do this, because you don't trust the ideas or the thoughts or the feelings that you have within. And to really embody being the leader of your life, you need to trust yourself. And that is so much easier said than done. Because, like most people, if you've done some things in your life and you feel like you've failed, then you may not trust yourself. You may feel like, I don't know if I can really do that. I don't know if that's right for me, because you're going to play in your head the past. You're going to play the mistakes that you feel like you made, or the place that you feel like you failed. You're going to play that over in your head and say, see, that's why you can't make that decision, or that's why you can't do that. And what I want you to do is look at that old situation and see what you've learned from it. Because what you'll probably realize is that you gained some experience. You learned some lessons that you needed to learn. So you didn't just fail. I want you to really hear that, because you need to embrace that within yourself. So that's one thing, is don't take those past experiences or failures, quote unquote, as failures. Use them as learning tools. Learn a lesson from them so that you can build upon it. That's wisdom. That's what leaders do. When they attempt something and let's say it doesn't go as planned, they go back, they analyze it, and they look at it and they figure out, how do I make it better? They don't just stay in that and blame themselves and talk about, well, I can't lead. I can't run this company. I can't do this thing. No, they learn from it and they pick themselves up and they keep going. So that's one thing you can do when you don't trust yourself. Another thing that you can do is when you're finding like you need external validation, or you don't really quite trust what comes up for you, is you need to learn to build what I call your God self. That space in you that has a knowing, that receives those messages from the divine, that says, you know what, this is really what you should do. This is how you should really handle this situation. And for each person, it's different. There isn't a one size fit all with that. But you really need to figure out for you, how do you receive that divine wisdom from source, from God, from whatever you call it? How do you receive that knowing so that then you can go act upon the guidance that you've been given, the suggestion, the thought, the idea that you've been given from the all knowing? We've got to learn how to identify that voice. It's so important. A lot of times we don't trust ourselves, like we just talked about, from past experiences, but we also don't know how to identify what I call, that God voice, that God guidance. And when you don't know how to do that, then you wonder, is this me? Is this God guidance? Is this really something? Am I making this up? You're all over the place questioning things. You don't have clarity. And clarity is so crucial. We talked about that before. You've got to be able to identify that voice. So some people meditate in many different ways. There's tons of meditation out there to help identify that voice. Some people try it out. Sometimes you get an inkling or an idea and you try it out and you see where it leads you. Something small where they don't feel like they're taking a big risk. And that's a way to test it out. Well, I just got this thought or this idea. What happens if I just take one step? How does that feel? What is that? What is the outcome of that situation? So that's one way as well of testing that, to really identify and grow that muscle of knowing that voice. The other thing is, the third thing I would say is being okay with not getting other people's approval, not pleasing other people, not needing other people to be on board with what you're deciding for you. Because we said leader, and that's singular, of your life. So there are times when we have to do it on our own. There are times we have to make decisions on our own. There's times where we have to really know who we are to go within and do things from that space. And we have to say no to other people if they're kind of coming in and we didn't ask for their input. And even sometimes when we ask for their input, it's okay to say, you know what, thank you for that information, and not use it. It really is okay to not use other people's information or look for other people's validation. Because just think about it. We just talked about source and God. Well, God's source is all knowing. Why not get validation from the being that knows everything versus another human being who doesn't have all the answers, who's figuring some things out just like you? And because that person did it their way doesn't mean that's going to work for you. We all don't have the same walk and the same path. Think about it. How many people out there do hair? There's thousands of people, if not millions of people, that do hair. Well, they may all do it in a different way. And if you ask anybody who has a hairdresser or a barber, they have that person they like because of what they do. So we all have different paths. And one barber may cut hair and find they do it one way. One barber or stylist may use a different shampoo than another, a different set of clippers, and all of that stuff to do this task of cutting hair or styling hair. It just varies. So I want people to understand there's just not one way. There's some stylists that actually work in a shop. There's some stylists that travel with their clients and they go from place to place. There's other people that may do it in their home. It's a different path for different people. And you get to choose that path for you. So understand that someone may be giving you great information that worked for them, but that may not be your path. And that may not be the right information for you. You have to learn how to discern. Is that right for me? Or is that just right for them? And that takes time. That takes time to kind of discern that. And sometimes they give you information and maybe you only need a piece of that information that you need to take in, and that is for you. The rest of the information may not be for you. So I wanted to give you those 3 tips about really going within, not using external forces and people and all of that to make your decisions. You need to make decisions that are right for you so that you can lead your life. But the first and foremost, you got to go within. You really got to know who you are, what you want, what you desire, having that clarity, knowing that God guidance so that you feel like I'm getting things right for me. Highly important. We're all different, unique beings. We're not meant to be the same. If we were, we'd all look the same, dress the same, and act the same. And we don't. So remember that beautiful uniqueness. And you've got to build that muscle of having confidence in yourself that you can lead yourself. You've gotten yourself to this age. So you've been doing some things right, lots of things right. And sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit because we're so critical of ourselves. But I wonder if you take a step back, will you really be able to see how amazing you are, how many wonderful, quote unquote, right things you've done. So that's it for today. It is Friday. If you're watching this the day I'm actually doing this and posting this, have a phenomenal, phenomenal weekend. If you're watching the replay, enjoy your day. Whatever day comes next, enjoy that too. And I will see you guys again next week. Bye for now.